Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Thanks for coming back by. I am sun-kissed and hot and just ready to go. So I guess that means that it's time for the mid-year book freakout tag, right? Summer is on, and it has been another half a year on BookTube. This will be my second year on BookTube. I started in January 2020. So I did the mid-year book freakout tag last year. It's pretty cool tag to kind of take stock of what you've read this year, and let's get to it. The best book that I've read so far this year. Now, I've read a lot of good books this year. I've read a lot of really good books this year. I am very happy with my reading, but if I had to really say one book and pick it as the best book that I've read this year, and I recommend it to everyone, it is Against the Day by Thomas Pynchon. This thing is a quintessential postmodern novel. There is every genre has its own storyline. Every character is so well done. You will fall in love. You will go through every emotion and feel like you're reading 5 different books at the same time, all set in the same world. And it is completely beautiful and mind-blowing what he does with this novel. And when it comes down to it, the end is super satisfying. You will love your reading experience, and it will be something that will stick with you forever. I love this book. I love Thomas Pynchon, but I love this book for sure. And it's probably the best book that I've read this year. Against the Day, what a great one. Number 2, a new release that I haven't read yet. So, I don't keep up with a lot of new releases. Where I find new releases is by just going to the library and, looking at what's come out new. And if there's an author that I love that, is writing now, then I'll get their new book. Somebody like, if Jeff Vandermeer drops a new book, I'll be on it. If, Pynchon dropped a new book or something, I would get it right then. So, that kind of thing. But I will say, Hail Mary came out, and it's getting a lot of hype, and a lot of trusted readers have talked about that. So, I'm looking forward to getting to that, if I can find a copy quick and easy. But I do own a book that is put out by a small press publisher, and it is Rick Harsch's The Assassination of Olaf Palme. This is a really cool book, 2 volumes, and it is a collaborative effort. All the names listed on the front here are collaborators that have helped with content that Rick Harsch has amassed to write this book. Rick Harsch showed up on last year's mid-year book freakout tag because I was talking about my most anticipated read was The Manifold Destiny of Eddie Vegas, and that is just an amazing book, a completely mind-blowing, poetic, beautifully written book with subject matter that just blows your mind. And so I can't wait to get to The Assassination of Olaf Palme. I will be reading that, and we'll see how it goes, right? Number 3, that was number 3. Number 4, biggest disappointment. So I am very, very careful to not read things that disappoint me. It's very, very rare that I read something that is disappointing to me because I don't go for things that I think have the slightest chance of being a disappointment. So I really couldn't think of one for this one so far this year. Thank God, right? Lucky me. Number 5, the biggest surprise so far this year. Well, the biggest surprise so far this year is a debut author. His first book dropped just maybe a month ago, and it is the America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots, a Diagnostic by Phillip Freedenberg, illustrated by Jeff Walton. This book is a mixed media mind blow of a novel, and was so surprising in its scope and how compelling it was. I couldn't wait to read more. I crushed this 600-page beast in 2 weeks. And that's 2 weeks with life going on and everything else, working and all that, you know. It is so entertaining and hilarious, and also mind-blowing in almost a philosophical way, as far as the reader-book relationship, what it means to be a reader and to read something. It's very a self-aware book and very surprising. I loved it. Number 6, a new to me author that I love. Well, this year I have found a genius, amazing, mind-blowing author that I can't believe that I didn't know who he was before, and I can't wait to read more, and that is Jorge Luis Borges. I love Borges. I have a whole series on my channel now going through some of his short fiction here, because it is thought experiments, it is compelling narratives, it is the whole shebang. Borges is a master at all things literature, but also experimental lit, thinking outside the box and delivering a story that sends the reader off on tangential thinking, and you just can't stop. It's so beautiful and amazing, and he will do it with 5 to 7 pages. All of his stuff is very, very short. This is the collection of every fiction that he has written in his lifetime, is this one collection. There is a lot of stuff in here. It's all very short, and it all is very amazing. I love Borges. Number 7, a fictional crush. So, I don't read in a way of reading genre pieces or having kind of an emotional attachment to reading. I read with a very mind-oriented stance when I'm reading, and so I don't kind of get caught up with characters like that, except for if they're very eccentric or interesting in some kind of way. But this will work. My favorite, or my fictional crush, and fictional because it's not real, is Clarice Lispector. She was beautiful inside and out in her life, and I can't get enough of her writing. She's an amazing writer, and she was an amazingly beautiful person, and so interesting. So she makes the cut for that one. Hold on one second. All right, number 8, a new favorite character. So I would say my last year's favorite character. I was thinking about this, and what had popped up is a book that I had read at the end of last year. So it doesn't really work for this tag, even though I read it after my last year's mid-year book Freakout tag, and that's JR by Gaddis. The kid JR is such a lovable. I mean, you just feel for this character. He's so sincere, even though he becomes this kind of capitalistic monster. It's such a great book. Just read JR. But my favorite character for a book that I've read this year is another William Gaddis novel, and it's Wyatt from The Recognitions. Wyatt, the main personage in The Recognitions, actually goes through most of the novel nameless. He is a very psychologically dark and tormented character, and loses his identity by becoming involved in fraudulent activities, actually painting in the style of old Dutch masters, and putting out these works that are his original works, but signed by these old Dutch masters, and it's like a found painting, right? And most of this novel, Wyatt, is nameless and doesn't have a name at all. And it is amazingly well done. I loved how deep and how complex Wyatt is as a character. So made my cut for new favorite character. Number 9, a book that made me cry. So, like I said, I don't read from an emotional place. I read from a more mind-oriented thinking spot when I'm reading a book. I will get emotional about something that I read upon reflection, and it's very, very rare that I actually will cry or have an emotional response while reading. When on reflection, I will have an emotional response, and then I will feel that and go through that and acknowledge that and things like that. I did actually start crying, tears of joy, and just an overwhelming ecstatic joy for a book that was that I had read at the end of last year. Again, after my last mid-year book Freakout tag, but not this year, and that is The Rise of Endymion, the end of the Dan Simmons Hyperion Cantos. The end of that series is so life-affirming, and how it works out is something that it just blows your mind. And it was tears of joy streaming. I couldn't stop. But one thing that is very sad, and upon reflection this year I did tear up, is Oblivion by David Foster Wallace, the short story called Incarnations of Burned Children. It is very, very, very hardcore, very short. It's only like 3 pages long, and it is a gut punch, and it is very, very hardcore. But there is a lot of darkness and things that are emotional in this collection. Incarnations of Burned Children is the thing that struck me the most emotionally, but Good Old Neon is something that I have read for years and loved and will read again, and it is one of those things that will also maybe get you in that way. Number 10, the opposite of that, a book this year so far that has made me happy. Well, one book that has made me very happy, especially to have read, is Ursula K. Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness. This book is such a great book and very unexpected. Everybody talks about how, it's a book about first contact with an alien race by a human, multiple planets wide empire that is looking to bring this planet into the fold. And this planet is inhabited by human beings, but they are evolved humans in the way that they don't have a gender. They become gendered only during the time where they might mate and have a kid. And then they will go back to a genderless state. And that is a part of this book that is cool, but there is a lot more to this book than that. And I think that I'm about to release a philosophical sci-fi series on my channel. I have a playlist called Philosophical Sci-Fi, and I'm going to do a video on this book, exploring other aspects of this book than just that, because there is a lot to discuss, and it made me very happy because I love big idea sci-fi novels. Number 11, the most beautiful book that I have acquired this year. And I say acquired because I did not buy it myself. This was a book exchange that I entered into, and I was gifted by Mupplewick on Instagram. Thank you very much, John. You're an amazing person. This most beautiful book, and it is Bruegel the Master. This book is amazing. Bruegel was an amazing painter. It's just these huge landscapes with so much going on. You can't even take it all in. And it's just something you can sit with. And this is Christ carrying the cross. He's right in the middle. The cross is right in the middle. But what is going on is all this stuff around. It's a beautiful book. And it is something that has lent itself to my reading all year long. Not only in the recognitions by Gaddis, but also Don DeLillo's Underworld. The first part of Don DeLillo's Underworld is called The Triumph of Death. And it is calling out the painting by Bruegel called The Triumph of Death. And so it has been very awesome to have that book, and it's a beautiful book. And I do have a video that shows that book more pointedly in a playlist called Beautiful Books. Number 12, books that I need to read by the end of the year. So these two books are definitely getting read by the end of the year. They're part of my big book takeover challenge to myself in 2021 here. And the first one is Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. It is getting done. It is getting done. No matter what. I love some Umberto Eco. I need to read more, and I'm definitely needing to read his biggest, most awesome work, heralded yelling from the hilltops in Ireland over there, Black Sheep Books, Jason Harrigan. I can hear you, brother. It's happening. And then my final book this year in my big book takeover is going to be a very ambitious pick. Why not end it right? End this whole year of reading big books with something hardcore, and that is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. Bam, baby. It's happening. It is happening. So, there we go. That will be the mid-year book freakout tag. I watch all these. And you don't have to be tagged in this to do it. Just do it. They're wonderful tags to know where people sit in their reading and what their year so far has been chalked up to. And I'll catch you on the next one, BookTube. Thank you. Bye-bye.